Hey, what's up guys? Koolaid here. Welcome to another episode of Killing Time with Koolaid. Today's episode is mainly going to focus on mail questions, but before we get to that, I do want to talk a little bit about the Infiltrator update and why I'm a little bit disappointed in it so far. So I haven't got to play quite as much as I would have liked the last few days. I actually, over the weekend, was very busy and wasn't around much, so I still have some testing on some stuff to do, but as a whole, I'm a little bit disappointed. And the main things that I was looking forward to were the Stalker Cloak, the submachine gun, and the crossbow. Well, start with the crossbow. It's not an infiltrator weapon. It's an every class weapon. So I don't really consider that too much as being part of the infiltrator update. Now I will say, from what I've used of it, I do like it better as a primary with the Stalker Cloak than I do as an actual secondary weapon. I actually so far prefer just having a normal sidearm or a normal pistol as a secondary weapon. And I will be doing a full review on the crossbow probably next week. I'll go more in depth on that once I get into that video. But overall, the crossbow is not just an infiltrator weapon, so it's hard to really say that's a major part of the infiltrator update. Next, we have the submachine gun, and if you watched my review on that, you'll realize that I'm not a huge fan, and from what I've been reading, most people are not a huge fan of the weapon either. Most people that actually bought it told me they actually regret buying it. It's just kind of a copy and paste of the NS7 PDW with some slight changes and a suppressor thrown on. So it's, I'm really unimpressed with that gun, and that was something that I was really looking forward to, a new SMG. As somebody that plays a lot of SMG Infiltrator, that was something that I wanted to be good and wanted to like, and I just don't. I probably won't use it anymore now that I actually did the review. And a little bit off topic here, but this kill streak you're seeing me on right here, it's probably the first and only time I've ever actually felt bad for killing people. You can tell these guys are newer players, and I'm just kind of taking advantage of them, you could say. Not that I'm going to stop killing them, not that I'm going to let them kill me or anything like that, but I honestly did feel a little bit bad at this point. But anyways, back on topic. The other big thing that I was looking forward to was the Stalker Cloak. And the Stalker Cloak is fun. I've been having a lot of fun with it, especially in conjunction with the crossbow, but it does have a major flaw, and I think it's a bug, or at least I'm hoping it's a bug. But once you sprint with the Stalker Cloak, then come to a stop, you will not go in the deep cloak for 5 to 10 seconds unless you uncloak and then recloak. It makes no sense, and to have to uncloak and then recloak kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Stalker Cloak. So this is something that really needs to be fixed, and something I'm really disappointed about, because they said in the patch notes they were going to work on cloak transitioning and some cloak bugs, but they didn't. Every other cloak bug that was in the game previous to the update seems to still be in the game. In fact, the bug where you actually cloak and it doesn't show you as cloaked on your screen seems to actually be happening more often to me. I had a case yesterday where I was using Stalker Cloak, or Hunter Cloak, sorry, and I hit my cloak. The cloak actually dwindled down to like 50% before the cloak animation actually kicked in on my screen graphically. So that didn't get fixed at all. The reload decloak bug is still in there. Had that happen to me yesterday as well. So I'm just overall very disappointed in that aspect, especially since they said they were going to work on cloak transitioning and that sort of thing. Also, they didn't touch the decoy grenades, which are easily the worst grenades in the entire game. I would really like to see them do something with those. They're just there. They serve no purpose whatsoever. Now, that's not to say nothing good came out of this update. I do think the Stalker Cloak, even though it's currently bugged or flawed, it still has its uses. I've actually had quite a bit of fun with it, especially in conjunction with that crossbow. It does help, if you want to do some deep infiltration, stuff like that. But I can't help but think when I'm using it that 90% of the stuff that I'm doing, I could do with Hunter Cloak anyway. So, and I'm still up in the air about that. I'll probably be doing a full review on that pretty soon as well. The other thing that actually was a big bright side to me was the motion spotter. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I actually, just by reading about it, I didn't think I was going to be using this at all, but it's actually a legit side grade. It has some very nice strengths compared to the Recon Detect device, but it also has some weaknesses as well. So I think they hit the nail on the head with this. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of my rant. I'm sure I'll rant a little bit more once the bolt actions come out. And, I'm not, as a primarily NC player, I'm not really looking forward to the NC bolt action. I think it's probably the most boring. It might be the most effective, but it's the most boring sounding of the three so far. I'm actually looking most forward to the TR one, and that's the one that most people are down on, simply because it's different. It's a lot different than the other, sniper rifles in the game. So, anyways, that is the end of my rant. I will do more on all the Infiltrator stuff in the near future. I have a lot to work on right now. So, anyways, guys, it's time for mail questions. So we'll start with an Infiltrator related question, and Dragon Tamer number 5 wants to know what I think about adding anti-material rifles into the game that would damage tanks, Maxes, Liberators, Galaxies, etc. And he actually gave some stat suggestions. He has 18% of a max health with a bullet. A lightning would take 8% per shot, and an MBT would take 5% per shot. And I gotta be honest with you, I think it's a horrible idea. Just look at anti-vehicle turrets right now and how little of fun it is when you're actually driving a tank. This is coming from somebody that doesn't like to drive tanks very often. But when you start getting blasted from somewhere that you don't know where you're getting hit from, or that it's just an incredibly hard shot to ever land, it's not fun. It doesn't add anything to the game. So if you were to make a sniper rifle or any kind of rifle that could damage tanks, it would have to be like incredibly low, like 2 or 3% damage per shot, and it would also have to have a slower reload time. I just don't think it would work. I think that's why, even though a lot of people have suggested this, I think it's something that would be really hard to implement into the game, and they would really have to tread lightly if they ever try to do something like this. Next, Zing103 wants to know my thoughts on the Cobalt. He actually says he's a driver and he has a friend that guns for him. And his friend wants a Cobalt, but he actually thinks he would prefer something with more anti-armor capabilities. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I love the Cobalt. I actually really like using it. It's one of my favorite guns to use on a tank. But with that being said, if you get caught up against another tank or multiple tanks, you're pretty much screwed at that point. And that's the reason why I don't really suggest using the Cobalt in most situations. It's nice to have, it's cheap, and it's just very situational. If you get into the right battle where you're going to be facing off against a lot of infantry, by all means throw it on. It's a beast of a gun. It just, the fact that you can't take out armor with it is really a major drawback, and that's pretty much what I say in all my tank secondary weapon reviews. I just always prefer something that has anti-armor capabilities. Ambition X wants to know, do you think having to turn your mag rider to aim is a good trade-off for being able to strafe? And I'll be honest, I don't have much experience driving a mag rider. I've gunned a few, had some good runs. As a gunner, we've stayed alive for a very long time, but I suck royally when it comes to actually driving the mag rider around. Now, that's not to say that I couldn't get good at it. I just literally have not tried. I don't have a single cert or a new weapon purchased for my mag rider at all. But I can say that when I'm shooting rockets at them, whether playing TR or NC, it's hard as hell to hit them sometimes, especially if you know you're going against a good mag rider driver. It's really hard. They can really dodge your rockets easily and become just a royal pain in the ass. I've seen one mag rider sit there and strafe, multiple heavy shooting at it for a good 4 or 5 minutes, just taking out infantry after infantry. So I can't say if it's a good trade-off, but it certainly seems like it. I think one of the things you could look at if you're driving a mag rider is try to maybe stay more defensive focused. Try to put your focus on dodging those rockets, and hopefully you have a good gunner that can do a lot of the work for you. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I think once you get actually good at driving the mag rider around, I think it's got the most potential of any tank in the game, or at least the highest skill cap. It definitely takes a little more skill to get used to than the other MBTs. The Fat 1987 says, sometimes when he's sniping, after he's acquired his target, he attempts to uncloak, but he gets some input lag and stays cloaked for a split second longer than usual, and it throws off his entire rhythm. He wants to know if I ever experienced this. And the only time, I think I know what you're talking about, and I think the only time this ever is a problem for me is when I'm cloaking and uncloaking in rapid succession. Other than that, I don't think I really experience this as a problem. I don't know, maybe you just do have some actual lag, or maybe you just need to wait a split second longer after uncloaking. But this is something you definitely need to work on if it is on your end, because sniping is all about rhythm. You guys probably know this, I don't have to tell you, but if you got them targets all lined up, getting that rhythm down where you're uncloaking, holding your breath, and taking that shot all in conjunction is what sniping is all about, and what really turns a decent sniper into a great sniper. So I can't really say for sure, but I guess I can say that it doesn't really happen too much to me. But I hope that helps answer your question a little bit. Next, 828 Morton has a few questions. First one, he says, if Sony were to make a new continent or update an existing one, would you like to see a Tech Lab sized mobile fortress littered with turrets? It would have its own infantry and vehicle spawn points, aircraft rearming pads, and capture points, and it would constantly travel along a set route around the continent, allowing each faction the opportunity to capture it and use it to lead their next assault. So that is very interesting, and actually I think that's kind of cool. There's a lot of logistics you'd have to work out, and I don't know how well it would actually translate in game, but I really do like that idea. I think that's something that could work. You actually, if any of you guys played Battlefield 4, in one of the maps they put in a mobile capture point. It was actually a train, and it rode along a set route where you could actually get on and gun 50 cals, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of fun. Now, I don't know how eventually, if it turned out to just be a kind of a gimmick, and I don't know if that's what this flying fortress tech lab thing would do, but I like the idea. I think that's actually a really cool idea. So yeah, maybe sometime we'll see that. I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath, but I do think that's a cool idea. He also wants to know what I think about Sony making that giant turret in Tech Labs usable as a base defense weapon. I'm all for it. Everybody wants to fire that big thing. As long as it's balanced, I don't see why not. It would be pretty epic, pretty cool. I don't really know what it would do, but whatever. As long as it's balanced, I'm all for it. He also wants to know what I think about lattice system if it only went between main facilities and large outposts, and the small outposts and standalone territories were standalone territories that could be capped separately, allowing outfits to capture a fixed spawn point behind the territory they are attacking. It would definitely lead towards more strategic, you wouldn't just follow that lattice to the next base. There would lead to more tactical type of gameplay, but at the same time it might make for bases really hard to defend if you have people coming in from every direction. It's something that I can't give too strong of an opinion on right now. It's something I'd really have to play with in game. And the last question he has, would you like to see more bullpup weapons? Would you like to see some existing weapons remodeled to a bullpup design? And I really don't care. I mean, it's a good way or a good thing that Sony could take the bullpup design and incorporate it to make new types of weapons in the future, like they did with the NS7 PDW and the Mark V suppressed. It kind of has a real life type application, because bullpups in real life, the whole thing with them is that they allow for a longer barrel in the same overall length of a weapon, if that makes sense. You could have a 24-inch assault rifle and a 24-inch bullpup assault rifle, and chances are the actual barrel length on that bullpup is going to be longer than your standard assault rifle. And Sony could definitely keep using this as a way to incorporate new types of weapons into the game. Don't necessarily think any need to be remodeled to a bullpup design, but they could definitely keep using this in the future. So for our final question of the day, Kate Suggs wants to know, what do you think about a poison weapon that would do small amounts of damage over a certain period of time? And also, what class do you think this type of weapon would be good for? Well, I've actually thought about this in the past as well. And, I couldn't come up with any really good ideas to make something like this work. But if I had to pull something out of my arse, it would probably be a medic weapon that would do, a small amount of damage, but also have it heal over time, heal yourself or heal your group. Now there'd have to be a way to easily get rid of this poison if it was on you, whether it be from a medic, a med pack, maybe if you turn around 4 times in a row and jump up and down real quick, something to get rid of this easy. And again, it would just not work very well in this game probably. Who knows? Maybe they're coming up with a way to do this right now as I'm sitting here. They're actually trying to put this in the next update. But honestly, I don't think it would be very good for Planetside 2. I think it might be fun, but it wouldn't work very well. You really have to have some thought behind it. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have. Now I know you guys are waiting for Heavy Assault Loadout Guide and or Loadout and Cert Guide Part 2, and the reason I don't have that up yet is simply because I wanted to get a little bit of new Infiltrator stuff up right away. That's why I did the Mark V Suppressed review yesterday. And I did want to get a killing time up because I haven't done one for a while. So I should have it up Thursday or Friday. Not making any promises. I'm never promising a video ever again. Not after the last time. But anyways, should be up Thursday or Friday. And I'll let you guys continue watching this kill streak. It does go on for a little bit. Nothing all that impressive. It's actually kind of an old kill streak, which is why I kind of wanted to use it up. You're actually going to see me fly up, jetpack, and ADS while jetpacking, so it's a little bit older. And I am trying to use up some of this light assault footage because when I start doing my new light assaults guide, which I'm probably going to do last, I want to have mostly new or fresh footage. So anyways, guys, that is all I have. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Could use some ammunition!